Have you ever wanted something so badly you could practically taste it? You could feel it deep in your bones. And then, just when it's within reach, it slips away. Or maybe worse, you realize in that quiet, sinking moment that you were the one who let it go. We're going to explore that. We're going to try to understand why we do this. It's a question that just hangs in the air, doesn't it? Especially in those quiet moments right after a failure. You were so close. You had a plan, everything was finally lining up, and then somehow it happened again. And you're just sitting there with this one single question echoing in your mind. Maybe that's what it was. Simple as that. You had all this momentum, you were on a roll, but that final push, it just wasn't there. It's like the energy just vanished, right when you needed it the very most. Or maybe it was a moment of doubt. Just a brief pause, a tiny split second where you asked yourself, am I really ready for this? Am I good enough? Just a little hesitation that ended up costing you everything. And just like that, poof, the entire thing you were building just comes tumbling down, all because of one wrong move. Or maybe no move at all. We love to blame our willpower, don't we? Or our circumstances, our bad luck. But what if the real reason is something deeper? Something we haven't even dared to look at? Now, just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty uncomfortable thought, right? It suggests that the problem isn't your talent, it's not your effort, it's not your strategy. It suggests the problem is what you truly, deep down, actually want. You love the fantasy of success, the daydream, but maybe, just maybe, you're not in love with the reality of it. And here's why. This is the silent trade-off we're all making, whether we know it or not. On one side, you have the rewards. Of course we want those. More money, more freedom, more respect. Who wouldn't? But look at the other column. That's the cost. With more money comes more pressure. With more freedom comes the judgment of others. And with more respect, well, that comes with real, profound, irreversible change. And that right there is what we're actually afraid of. So let's get one thing straight. This is not about you being lazy. It's not about being unmotivated. You need to let yourself off the hook for that. What's really going on is a fundamental conflict, a war happening inside of you. And it's not driven by laziness, it's driven entirely by fear. You know, this idea isn't some new age concept. It goes way back. In 1937, Napoleon Hill wrote the famous book, Think and Grow Rich. And everyone thinks it's a book about making money, but it's not. It's really about control. Not control over the market, but control over the one thing that gets in your way again and again, you. So here are the two sides fighting this war. On one side, you have the person you are right now, the one who's comfortable, the one who knows the rules of their own life, the one who is, above all else, safe. And on the other side, that's the person you dream of becoming, the one who takes the risks, who achieves those big goals, who lives a much bigger life. And if you're honest with yourself, you know which side has been winning. See, your brain has one primary job, and that's to keep you alive, to keep you safe. Its job isn't to make you successful. That's too dangerous. So the moment you try to step up and grow, all these alarm bells start going off. That procrastination you feel, that's not laziness. That's your brain's fear of criticism. That hesitation, that's the deep fear of rejection. It's the subconscious terror of outgrowing the people you love. And maybe the scariest one of all, the fear of looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person looking back. In all of this, it brings us to a fundamental choice. It's a decision about how you are going to live from this moment on. Because here's the thing, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot live two different lives at the same time. You have to choose a path. I want to explore this with a really simple metaphor. And I really need you to hear this, okay? It's a simple distinction, but I promise you, its implications are absolutely profound. On one side, you have the sheep. The sheep, it seeks comfort, it moves with the herd because it feels safe in the crowd, it avoids risk at all costs, and it always plays it safe. The lion, on the other hand, the lion hunts. It goes after what it wants. It's not afraid to walk alone. It understands that pressure is just part of the game. And the lion, it never asks for permission to be powerful. Now here's the problem. Most of us want the life of the lion, but we live with the habits of the sheep. So, let's make this really personal. Take an honest look around you, at your friends, your family, the people you work with, the people you spend your time with. Are they lions? Are they hunting their own goals, pushing you, challenging you? Or are they sheep, playing it safe, staying comfortable in the herd? Because here's a hard truth. Whatever you surround yourself with, you will inevitably become. Okay, let's peel back one more layer. We've talked about the fear of criticism, the fear of change, but underneath all of that lies the real core fear. And it's not what you think. It's not the fear of failing. It's the fear of what happens if you don't. It is the terrifying fear of responsibility. Just think about that for a second. I mean, really, pause and imagine it. What happens the day you get everything you've ever wanted? Your dream is no longer a dream, it's your reality. What does that life actually look like? It sounds amazing, right? But it comes with a hidden weight, a heavy one. And that is the weight. See, as long as you're struggling, you have a whole library of excuses. You can blame your upbringing, your boss, the economy, your bad luck. But the moment you succeed, every single one of those excuses disappears. It's just you. And now you're responsible for keeping it, for growing it, for deserving it. And that kind of pressure is terrifying. This one sentence, right here, explains almost all self-sabotage. It feels so much safer to stay in a familiar struggle than to step into the bright, relentless spotlight of being accountable for your own success. So right when things start to go well, we subconsciously pull the plug. Because you see, being stuck is a pain we already know how to handle. But being accountable, that's a burden we've never had to carry. So how do we finally break this cycle? It starts with one thing, not a wish, not a hope, a true decision. And a true decision means understanding that to build something new, you have to be willing to consciously and completely cut off the old version of you. Just listen to the language we use. A wish says, I'll try. Right there, that leaves room for failure. A wish says, maybe later, which is just an invitation for procrastination. But a real decision is absolute. It burns the boats. It cuts off the path back to your old self. There is no backup plan. There is no escape hatch. There is only one direction, forward. But a decision, even a powerful one, isn't enough if your internal identity is secretly fighting against you. Think of your self-image as the master story you tell yourself about yourself. And if that story is, I'm the kind of person who always quits, then your brain will work tirelessly to make that story true. It's a powerful psychological drive. Your brain actually values being consistent with its story more than it values your happiness. So think about that. Self-sabotage isn't a weakness. It's your brain being powerfully, incredibly consistent with a story that no longer serves you. This is why you don't just get success. You have to grow into it. You literally have to become the person who can handle the pressure, who can handle the responsibility. And that kind of transformation, it always has a price. It requires a conscious, willing sacrifice. And here is that price, broken down into 3 things you must be willing to let go of. First, you have to let go of comfort. Growth and comfort cannot exist in the same place. You choose one. Second, you have to let go of needing everyone's approval. The moment you begin to hunt to change, some people in your life won't like it, and you have to be okay with that. And finally, number 3, you must let go of playing it safe. You have to be willing to take the exact risks the sheep is so terrified of. And so we end right where we began, with a choice. I want you to look at your actions, not your daydreams. Look at your habits, not your hopes. The evidence of your life is already telling a story. So the only question that matters now is the one right in front of you. The door's open. The choice, as it has always been, is yours.